Hello, YouTube. I'm here again with a video review of The Question Volume 2. Now, while I'm doing this review, people may be looking up at my channel to see if there's a Question Volume 1 review up. There isn't, and I'll explain why. I can't find the damn thing because it wasn't in my comic book store. I had to request this from their distributor, uh, just to get this. And I think Volume 1's out of print, which is weird. Like, this is the only one you can get from Amazon that's like a guarantee you can get it. All the other ones are like you have to buy from people, and there's like two people that you can buy from, and they're like $20 a pop, or maybe even going up to $50, and there's no Prime, so shipping could, God, it could just be freaking expensive just to get Dennis O'Neill's The Question, which is weird because it's just so good and people want to read it. It's weird, but moving on with the video. First, I'd like to bring up two kind of minuscule things. One is one of the only flaws I have with the book. The title. Volume 2 is called Poison Ground, which is the title of one of the issues. One. It really has nothing to do with the overarching plot line, which there barely is one. It's sort of a one-shot every story, except there's one two-parter. There's no, like, overarching plot line. And, the cover? The cover is awesome. I want this as a poster, because it's just that awesome. What would have made an even more awesome cover would be the awesome cover of issue 8. I have the trade right here. Just making sure I'm right. Yeah. The cover to issue 8 is just awesome. It's The Question, you see him in the background, and in the foreground there's just this hand holding this knife covered in blood, which is on the back, which is cool. I'm sort of just going to go through issue by issue my thoughts on this. Now, just to preface this, I've never really read anything by Dennis O'Neill. I'm trying to find the second volume of Green Lantern, Green Arrow, because I'm really liking that. I have an issue of a newer Batman Detective Comics that he did, but other than that, I've never really read anything by him other than this, and I think he's really good at writing this. So number 7 is the issue with Mr. Volk, who I think Mr. Volk is a really interesting character because he was left out in the wilderness during World War II because he was in a concentration camp and got liberated, and they just sort of kept him there. And he was basically raised by wolves, and somebody's trying to put a hit on him, and the Question tries to stop him. It's really good. And the end of the first issue is confusing because he dies, tells the Question to go to this place in Switzerland, and he goes there, and there's a wolf that has an eye scar that Volk has. I didn't really get it. And the first issue is kind of boring. The second issue, well, the first issue establishes the newfound kind of love with Myra and Vic, because Myra hates her husband, who is the mayor, who just basically drinks whiskey and talks about Teddy Roosevelt all day. It's quite funny when we see him. I really think something relating to Myra would be a better title for this trade. But still, first issue's good. Second issue, the Makaido issue. Oh, this issue is brilliant. It's the Question having to deal with kind of a Punisher-like character, kind of a Red Hood-ish kind of guy, and I mean Red Hood from Batman and Robin Volume 1, written by Grant Morrison, not the one written by Judd Winnick. who I want to stab in the face with a soldering iron until the... Okay, never mind. But he's dealing with a character called Makaido who kills criminals. Or just, people who are just really bad people from the standards of society. People that starve their kids, or people that rape people, or, wife beaters. He punishes them and, let the punishment fit the crime. He just deals with that brilliantly. I'm not even going to go into major plot points with that. But yeah, that issue is just brilliant. Let me check just to see if I'm just doing this right. One thing I'd really like to mention about all of these issues is that the Question has a mullet throughout the entire volume. Except for the first and last issue, he has a mullet throughout the entire volume. And it's sort of the magically disappearing mullet, because he has a mullet in the first issue, and then he starts to grow a mullet in the second issue, and then he has a mullet for issues 9 to 11. Then issue 12, the mullet just it goes away. It's gone. It's just the magically changing mullet. I find it funny. But 9 through 10 is a 3-issue story arc, which is really interesting, dealing with science and hallucinations and just dealing with the Question's life. And any time anybody mentions orange trees, I start thinking of hallucinations. I'll let you figure that one out for yourself. And the last issue of the trade, issue 12, Poison Ground, the title issue, which really, I think this is establishing a relationship between Vic and Myra that might go somewhere in Volume 3. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to pick it up. But this brings in Baby Gunn, who killed the Question in the first issue of this series, issue 1. Who I don't find Baby Gunn that interesting, to be honest. I mean, he's just sort of a mentally challenged guy who goes around killing people and then eating their food. And it's just sort of a whodunit. It's not really that interesting, but the Question, but it's a political issue story, which I find interesting. Dennis O'Neil does an amazing job, and Denise Cowan's artwork is just fantastic. It's consistent. It's just I love 80s artwork. I just love 80s artwork. I'm reading Long Bow Hunters right now, and that artwork is just groundbreakingly it's just fantastic. But yeah, that's my thoughts on The Question Volume 2. So I will see you again with another video real soon.